ultimate goal of marketing is what they call top of mind. TOMA, top of mind awareness. That's the ultimate goal of marketing. That's what you want when somebody thinks of your type of product or service. You want your company to come to the top of their mind first. So as a little service, no one that knows this, because this is a common Chet thing I teach, but name a baby shampoo. Okay, name an American car company. Name a cola company. Okay, so that's called top of mind awareness. Those are the ones that come to the top of your mind. Ford, Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson. These are secondary, actually. They will come up, Chrysler and Pepsi. Now, the one reason why Ford comes up is because, as the #1 top of mind awareness among American car companies, is because everything's a Ford. It's a Ford Mustang, it's a Ford Probe, it's a Ford this, it's a Ford that. GM doesn't hardly ever come up because it's never a GM. It's a Cadillac. It's a, they have brands underneath the GM line. So it's a little lesson for you there in terms of branding. So extensive studies reveal that you must use these 6. It's 7 now because one has been added. I'll show you what that one is. But here's the 7 musts of marketing. #1 is personal contact. They find, by the way, to bring the full circle there, top of mind awareness is established by these 7 things. In other words, when they went and they did a study, in fact, it was McGraw-Hill, they spent $340,000 over a 5-year period studying companies that all had TOMA, top of mind awareness, in their community, and they found they all did these 7 things. So these have become the 7 musts of marketing. #1 is personal contact. #2 is direct mail. #3 is the internet. That's the new addition to the team. #4 is company brochures or literature. #5 is advertising. #6, public relations. #7, education of client or trade shows. Client education or trade shows. Those are the 7 musts of marketing. Now what you find, you got all those? I'm going to show them here again though anyway. What happens is, in most companies, these things are all done as separate little islands. And so I've seen even the biggest companies, $100 billion banks, where the advertising agency has nothing to do with the company that creates the brochure, has nothing to do with the trade show executive, has nothing to do with the direct mail people. The PR guy's got a giant book full of press releases he has that the sales team has never seen or used or known about, and it has never been used as a direct mail effort, and it has not been used at the trade shows. So what I'm trying to show you is all the stuff can work together if you're a smart marketer. That's what's called stacked marketing, is we want to stack these things up rather than having conflicting and varying messages from all these 7 musts. We want to have them have that consistent theme, and that also they can interact. Where else can you use the things that are working? So if you've got a great article, can you use that in your direct mail piece? Can you use it in your trade shows? Can you use it quoted in your company brochures, your literature? Can you use it in your advertising? And of course the web is great because you can use it for everything. So what you want to do is that consistent theme or slogan becomes really important. Jay talked about this yesterday, so I don't need to do a big job on it here. 7th must of marketing, of course, in 1995, 5 million people on the internet. I mean, it was like, it's hard to believe. That's not that long ago, right? And it didn't even exist. It's changed all of our lives. Today, virtually everybody uses it. You have 85-year-olds that don't and 4-year-olds that don't, but almost everybody in between is on the web. So, this is from another core story we built for somebody. Amazon.com may still be struggling, but it still took $1 billion of market share from somebody. There's $1 billion somebody lost there. Time it took for Amazon to reach $1 billion 4 years flat. Time it took for Barnes & Noble 50 years. So the internet can create your worst nightmare overnight, or it can, again, create an awesome opportunity for you overnight. Now, the internet is the most dynamic marketing vehicle in the world today. In fact, it's so important there are 2 entire modules in the Business Growth Master series that are devoted just to covering this important area. But since it's so dynamic and constantly evolving, we've trained our coaches to be able to provide an excellent segment on website marketing. In addition, ask your coach about search engine optimization. This is crucial to your success today. No one is using Yellow Pages anymore. So we've gone out and developed relationships with providers of this important service. Your coach will guide you to these services,
We can help you get on the first page of Google. As of this recording, my name is #1 on Google for over 300 carefully selected search terms. That was done on purpose. If you're not on the first page of Google for your industry, talk to your coach. They'll help you get started. Let's go back to the live event.
Which one of these do you think is the most potent? Which one of these 7 musts do you think has the most potential for impact on a customer?
Personal contact.
You guys are so sharp, I swear. None of your other marketing efforts, I mean, you know, you can advertise to me, you can direct mail to me, I can read an article about you, but now I am on the phone with you. Or now your salesperson is in front of me. That is the most potent marketing weapon. There's other things do, but the most potent is personal contact. That's the most impact. So that's why those, you know, you got to have the procedures for every single thing that's going on there. Sales is the most powerful weapon. This is a huge area, and we have some super training on this area, so much so that we have our own speakers for it, and we have a lot of workshops on it, and I got a great education on how to find yourself sales superheroes. So yes, we're going to get deep on selling and salespeople, but for now, let's talk about other forms of personal contact. Client education is another form of personal contact. Free seminars, free consultations, specialized education, trade shows where applicable. Again, half the room goes to trade shows. Powerful opportunity. We're going to talk about that. All these efforts should constantly mirror that ultimate strategic position that we talked about. Powering up your personal contact. First, get some superstars. I've got a section coming on that. But for almost every area of potential growth, I was talking to somebody last night who doesn't like to sell. And he's a one-person army, and he doesn't want to be a salesperson. Well, there's always people who do want to be salespeople, and you can get them to work for you as long as you put enough opportunity in front of them. So then we started drilling down on what's his opportunity, and we found he's a pretty good opportunity. So it doesn't matter who you are, there are people out there that you can get as long as you're willing to reward them for what they do. Don't be put off if your first hire or even your first few hires don't work out. Because I've had people come away from the seminar and go, yeah, I like what he said about hiring a sales superstar. I've got to get me one of those guys. And they hire somebody and they really don't work out and they abandon the concept right away. Throw out the baby with the bathwater. I can tell you that at my old company, the one that I sold, we used to go through 8 salespeople to find a good one. So we just knew we were going to churn and burn through them. So we had a technique to churn and burn them real fast. You know, we burn them out real fast. Within 4 or 5 days, if they weren't great, they were out of there. Do you do that now? Do you churn and burn them, David? Yeah. Yep. Tools. Your salespeople need great tools, fantastic presentation materials, great sales promos on at least a dozen sales points. So those are tools. And again, for my clients, I build a whole host of tools that the salespeople have to use. They've got letters of recommendation from other clients who've said great things about the company. They've got certainly at least 4 letters about the core story that just are all sizzle, no steak. You guys know what I mean by that? Okay, that means it says, thank you for showing us that fantastic executive briefing. We were really impressed with all the information. We were quite surprised to learn some of those dangerous trends, but we were glad you armed us with the information to avoid those trends. I would highly recommend this for any executive in our industry. Very truly yours, so-and-so. What did I give away there? Nothing, but it sounds good, doesn't it? It's all sizzle, no steak, meaning no actual facts are given away. And what I do for my clients is I actually write the letters. So when you want to get a letter from a client, you say to the client, you go, you show them the core story. They go, wow, that was really good. You say, would you mind giving me a letter on that? No, sure, I'll give you a letter. If you did a great job, your client will give you a letter every day of the week. And then you say, well, you know what? If you want, just to make it easy for you, to make sure I actually do get that letter, I can jot something down for you. Oh, great. If you write it, then I'll actually do it. And so then you get to actually write the letter you want to have to show to the client. So I write for every client 3, 4, 5, 6 of these letters. They're all different. They're all short. Right, Joe? We just did it for you. I just did 2 for you. They're short. Why? Because it's just a tool. It needs to be quick and punchy, and you want them to read it, right? So don't make a long thing. They're not going to read it. Make it. If it's a paragraph, they're going to read it. And then when you send it, you could circle like one line, underline, or put a big arrow on it, bring attention to it. Those are sales tools. You need tools in your toolkit, so you prepare your salespeople with a ton of great stuff that they can get to utilize. Great brochure that acts as a mini presentation. We'll talk about that in a little later. Great tools to get in the door. Great titles that also help them get in the door. So that's what I was saying before. I hate the sales title, so I'll Manager of Client Education. That's my favorite because it's so harmless. It's such a harmless title. Yeah, I'm the Manager of Client Education, and we put on these free executive briefings. In fact, I'm one of the trained speakers, and I'll be coming through your area on a tour, you know. But so a great title is really important. Give your salespeople wonderful titles that don't sound like salespeople. No salesperson should have a word sales in their title because people don't want to be sold. It puts up an immediate barrier. Okay, marketing is what drives sales leads. Your salespeople need leads. Isn't it wonderful to have barracudas who go out and create their own leads, but the sales process can go 5 times faster if you can create leads for them. Those leads pouring in the door. Salesperson need to have their own Dream 100 approach, mailings, but these are the tools that you got to support them with mailings, newsletters, surveys, PR, trade show programs. You know, let's make it all work together and get it all working. That's why I say this all the time. I don't think I said it here, but to outsell and outmarket your competition is so easy, and I haven't said one thing here that's expensive. It's all working smarter, not working harder. It's not spending more money. That core story, once it's built, there's nothing, it costs nothing to use that thing once it's built. So, okay. Your brochure, if you've built your core story, the brochure should be a miniature version. That means it will have riveting data that sets the buying criteria. We've got 2 graphic designers in this room. One of them has actually built one of those brochures based upon the core story. But those fellows can take those core stories and build you a brochure off of it. You know, we got one for Joe for his duck presentation, and it's like a report. So you use the same exact graphics and practical scenario. You go out and present your core story. It goes really well. The prospect now wants to go to someone else and communicate on your behalf. You do a great job. You know what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Person's going to say to you, especially if it's somebody who has to persuade others from the core story that you just presented, they're going to go, can I have a copy of that? You guys in here who've used core story, you know what I'm saying. They'll ask you, well, you know, I'd like to show that to my boss. Can I have a copy of that? Well, you don't want to give away your core story. It'll end up in the hands of your competitors for sure. But you can give away a brochure that's like a miniature of it, and then you've given this guy a sales tool. You've turned him into a core story presenter for you. So you should have a brochure that mirrors the core story, just the highlights of it. And I wish we had yours here, Joe. We'd pass it out to everybody because it's so powerful. And, of course, he sells ducks, and the majority of people that buy ducks are Chinese and Asians restaurants. So he has it in having it done in Mandarin and 2 different kinds of Chinese. And it's educational. It talks about the biggest trends and how to have the most successful restaurant. Since your core story is aimed at them and not at you, the brochure will be aimed at them and not at you. The header should be very similar to your core story, the 5 most dangerous trends facing blah, blah, blah. At a trade show, just to try and give you another scenario for it, if you're sitting at a trade show and you're just hanging out, you know how you, and then you go on the coffee tables and trade shows, there'll be all these magazines and, you know, people promoting their wares, and there might be 5 or 6 brochures there. The only one you're going to pick up if you're sitting there is the one that says the 5 most dangerous trends facing my industry. That you're going to pick up. The rest of them you're just going to leave. That thing you're going to pick up. And then if those 5 most dangerous trends lead you to that logical conclusion, like the safety client, he's got a miniature brochure. Now it says the 5 most dangerous trends facing any company having to do with safety. And, you know, every company that has anything to do with safety picks that thing up at the trade show, and they read through it, and it says, you know, litigation, and it tells you about it. It's just a miniature version of his core story, but it works really well. It should focus on how you help clients. It should be the foundation around which all the other tools are built. It should be an effective sales tool. Use subheads, use graphics, use photos. You know, make it interesting, well-designed. Public relations defined. It's not sales per se, it's not trade shows per se, it's not written literature per se, but it helps all those things. However, it is throwing parties at trade shows, doing splashy events for your clients, doing press releases, building relationships with the press, building relationships with strong forces that can help you, trade associations, community groups. Those are all public relations efforts. And again, I'm just trying to show you the 7 musts of marketing. Most companies don't have a really good effort in this area, and it can be really beneficial. It's all about that top-of-mind awareness, including building TOMA among the press. Most of you, if you're B2B, you have a very small circle of press. You know, for you, David, there are 5 magazines cover all the dentists or all the plastic surgeons. How long would it take you to build relationships with the editors of all those magazines? Using the Dream 100 approach, where you're in their face every 2 weeks with another press release offering some other important thing, you suddenly start to become very prominent in their mind. And then these editors are always looking. They, just like anybody else, they start to respect anybody with perseverance and persistence. Ever notice how the entertainment shows cover the same shows all the time? You know, you go to Entertainment Tonight, it covers the same 5 things. And you know, there's like 1,700 movies that come out a year, and they cover maybe 3 or something. You know, it's like, I don't understand that. Well, it's because it's all about the relationships. There are PR people who knows having dinner every night with the producer of Entertainment Tonight. And so when you want to get on Entertainment Tonight, go hire that PR firm, and you're likely to get on there because that person has the relationship. So that's what it's all about. Jay Levinson teaches it's something like 85% of all news is placed.
Robert Smith, CEO of his own PR agency, was in the audience at this event. Chet Holmes asked Robert Smith to do a short segment on PR.
Placed news is information that someone like me or you sends to the media. It's not breaking news. If the president does something, that's breaking news. They're going to cover that. If there's a major earthquake, they're going to cover that. 70% of everything you read in here is somebody like me sent this to the paper. That's powerful for you because you can do it. You know, whatever publication you want to be in, you name it. You pick it. If it's going to help your business, go to their website, get a copy of it, find out the editor, the reporter who covers your industry, and you can do a press release. They haven't gotten into what a press release is. But you can do that, or you can just call. Email the reporter and say, hey, I read your story. I liked it. I'm an expert in fill in the blank. They want to talk to experts, not people who are guessing, you know, think they may know something. If you're an expert in a particular industry, they want to talk to you. Every day this newspaper comes out. Every day. And if you flip through here, you'll never see a blank space. Why? They got to put something on here.
Really late.
And you know what? They don't care. If it's they just got to fill this paper up. And if you get in here, you're talking about 3 million people reading about your business. You know, I can get into the LA Times, the USA Today, Newsweek, Orange County Register, the San Francisco Chronicle, wherever you live, Chicago Tribune, where I live, the Sun-Times. It doesn't matter. I get calls every day from reporters from the Tribune. We're working on a story. We don't have anybody to interview. What do you think about Martha Stewart? So what I do is, Martha Stewart is not going to grow my business. I've gotten smart to where I know how to tie that into the person who's reading that, how I can help them. And so what I do is I talk about her image, crisis, PR, and he mentioned I'm in PR, and then I say, well, here's how some of your readers can, if they're in her situation. And I get calls every day. My secretary gets calls every day. We read about you in such and such. We saw you here. We heard you on the radio. And I don't pay for advertising at all. 100 leads a month. I don't run any ads. It's all PR. You guys can do it. Another thing, too. If you guys want to tell 1 billion people about your business, here's how to do it. 1 billion people across the world, here's how to do it free. It's called Newswire. Associated Press is the largest in the world. If they pick up a story, a press release that you send them, your business is going to change forever. Somewhere in California, the girl that had the shark, lost her arm to a shark, there's an AP writer who interviewed me. His angle was, can she make money off of it? Is it promotional? And I said, yeah, it's promotional. People have gotten so clever now that they profit off of tragedies. She has a book deal. She has a clothing line. She has a made-for-TV movie that's coming out, all because she lost her arm. Anyway, he interviewed me, and I said she can do public appearances. She can speak. People want to hear her story. She's a multimillionaire now because of that. And he interviewed me. That thing ran in 1,300 newspapers. And the reason I say 1 billion people, because AP is overseas, too. They picked it up. So 1 billion people were introduced to me as a PR consultant. And Every state has an AP bureau. You don't have to be international. It can be statewide, so everyone in your state can know you exist.
Is that the PR Newswire?
The AP, Associated Press.
But how do you use it? Tell them how to use it.
Okay. The email to send your press release to the AP is pr@ap.org. That's pr@ap.org. In the subject line, here's where your headline goes, and it has to be something that's going to grab their attention. This is similar, same thing with marketing sales letters. These people are flooded with emails. They're deleting them as fast as they get them, so you got to grab them. So that's something you guys are going to have to work on to tie into your business.
We got a session on that.
Okay, so that's the AP. Wall Street Journal, the same way. If you want to send something to them, it's newsroom@dowjones.com. And for you guys who are in the industry where you're not B2C and it's a niche, go to mediapost.com, and they list all 79,000 media outlets in the country. That's every newspaper, every weekly newspaper, every magazine, every trade journal, every newsletter, every radio station, every TV station.
You're saying that's B2B router?
That's B2B, B2C. Yeah. And that's for everybody. Everybody can use PR. The only thing that changes is your audience. If you sell plumbing equipment, it won't do you a bit of good to be on the front page here if you're selling to plumbers. But you can go to Media Post and find out all the publications that plumbers get, or like he mentioned, David, the plastic surgeons or dentists, and then build your media list. If you guys don't know how to write a press release, here's a secret I learned too. If you guys don't know how to write a press release, call the publication, just say, hey, you have this new product, this new idea, but you have no idea of how to do it. Is there a college student, an intern, an entry-level person? You know, I can give them $50 an hour to help me do this. Now, if you get a reporter to write a press release for you, it's not going to take them an hour. But what you have just done is they've written you a good press release. Secondly, they've taken your press release and handed it to their editor. That has way more weight than you doing it and sending it to them. And you can do that with any publication. Any publication.
That's a great idea.
Last thing, you guys are getting a lot of information here. So you're going to say, well, I don't have time to do PR. I'm doing everything else. Here's how to add a high-powered PR department to your company free. Yeah, you got, I see it right. He perked up now. Okay. Here's how to do it. I mean, it's better if you hire someone and pay them because of the connections. But if you just want to get press releases out and get the word out, here's how to do it. Contact your local colleges and universities, or you can go to the library and get the Peterson's Guide to 2-year and 4-year schools. Contact the career placement office and let them know you have internship openings. You want business majors, marketing majors, journalism majors, and public relations majors. You want these people because they've already been trained in PR. You tell them what it is you want to do. They're able to write a press release. They're able to go to Media Post for you and decide who's going to get it, and they can send it off. Now, they're going to ask you, is it paid, is it unpaid, or the students get a credit for it. I'm at the position now where I offer paid internships, but at the time when I couldn't, it was all commission-based, meaning if they do work, you know, they get paid somewhere down the road. So, and I get a lot of students. I hired 18 interns. It didn't cost me a dime. You can pick any school you want. I just had 2 guys from Harvard respond to my, you know, this same strategy. I use it. I practice what I preach. Doesn't cost me anything. It wasn't for PR, but if you guys need PR, this is how you do it. And if you can pay them, pay them. You know, I don't go the credited route because there's too much red tape and bureaucracy behind that, and it takes too long. But just send that to the career placement office. They'll put it up, and when students come here for an intern or see who's hiring, they'll see it. You know, then again, you meet with them and you say, okay, this is what my company does. They're already trained in press releases. And every week, that's how you build top of mind. A lot of things piggybacked off what he says. The media will get to know you. Pretty soon your customers will get to know you. And the 2%, this is the last thing, the 2%, it doesn't matter how you reach them. If you send direct mail or if they see you on TV, the 2% is the same. The 2% that read about me, an entrepreneur, they need help with PR, it's still 2%. They just happen to see me in article form. So that's who I spend my time with and some of the other publications I'm in. But this is something you guys can do Monday morning. You don't need a big budget. You need some time to do it, to call the colleges. You need some time to get a copy of the newspapers you want to be in, and just call the editors and say, hi, I'm in this city. This is what I do. And you're on your road to publicity.
Yay. I don't know how many people could come up and do an impromptu like that. That was really awesome. A couple more things on PR, and like I say, phone call after every press release that you send. That's how you'll build relationships with the press. Did you receive our press release about the amazing amount of pollutants in the home? For you, Paul. So that's, you know, again, what's great about the core story stuff, and Robert, you back me up here, is that when you have all that data, you really have something sexy to go at these people and talk about, because the data gives you the wows. So it doesn't matter what you're selling. When you've got those wows, you know, that's how you're going to get the attention of people. Like when you say, you know, you got that article about the fertility was in the Los Angeles Times. Woo! They went, what? We've lost 95% of our fertility? We've got to do a story on that. So great data will get you great exposure. So what's the hook? That's going to be something Jill's going to, that's Guerrilla PR. She's here tomorrow talking about the hook. What if you could get 300 press releases in 300 newspapers all across the country? My question to you is, what would you want them to say? There's a service that virtually guarantees you'll get 300 press releases placed in 300 daily newspapers for only $5,800. Some people hear that's a lot of money. Some people hear that's nothing if you're going to get 300 press releases. And $5,400, they will guarantee you that you'll get on 400 radio stations that will pick it up. So what would you say? The tone has to be totally education, as if it's a news item. One I saw, they showed me, was talking about something about animal testing and worked its way into plugging a cosmetics company that didn't do it and gave their website. And it went in 300 newspapers. They got like 10,000 new customers from it. Even if you sell B2B, can you think of an angle that would get picked up, and how much would it help you to have 300 press releases you could show to prospects about a problem you might have pointed out to the world? So even if you sell B2B, is there something you could say that even though you don't care that it's going to be read by 3 million people, that's not going to get you anything, but when you go to your clients, you go, look, this has been picked up in 300 newspapers, you know, and you can show them, because the service for that same money tracks them and gives you the articles. So how'd you like to have a stack? When you go in front of any client, would you like to have a stack of 300 newspaper articles been written about you or your company or your services? Go to www.napsinfo.com. I just literally, before doing the seminar, because a friend of mine used this, he has a website where they sell furniture. And every time he used it, he got 300-400 in there, and it just dramatically is the #1 website in the country for furniture right now. He's used this thing every other month for like 2 years. And it's the main thing he used, because to reach, well, as Robert said, you know, millions of people, if you wanted to advertise, would have cost so much money, it would have been unbelievable. But by going and getting these, they just do little blurbs, 160 words for the radio spots. I don't remember what the other thing was. What's your angle? Think right now. I'll give you 15 seconds. What is the angle that you would want to go, if you wanted to get 300 press releases placed, what would be the angle for you? Okay, here's the amazing PR Newswire, prnewswire.com. They go to every single media source on the planet for hundreds, not thousands, meaning that for $600, they'll put out a press release to something like 6,000 news sources, $600. And I used it twice, and I ended up in the Wall Street Journal both times. That's so cool. They will help you write it, because they know what gets picked up. You're paying them, they're going to help you write the press release and everything. It's turnkey services. Another secret, can you mention a Fortune 500 company in your copy? Careful about liability, but if you mention, Bob taught me that, When he does press release, he tries to mention something that involves some Fortune 500, and man, it just gets picked up twice as fast. We got a bunch of people in this room who have taken the concepts I'm going to show in these next several panels and blown it out of the water with trade shows. I mean, just done a fantastic job. So here they are. There's only 3 rules to having a killer trade show, and there's 100 ways to capitalize on it. Rule number 1, get noticed. Now, if that is a strategic, I say it and you go, yeah, okay, well, but what can you do to really make yourself stand out in the crowd? What can you do to really stand out in the crowd? Nothing else, great products, superb selling, etc., will matter if you can't get noticed. So your first rule of a trade show is to find a way to stand out in the crowd. Yesterday, the DPS guys were all in blue shirts. Bob had them here all in their uniforms. I'm going to give you some very good examples about that. Think of some themes. How about a Hawaiian theme? I had a client that did a Hawaiian theme, and they all wore Hawaiian shirts and white pants, and they gave away a free trip. They had a model at the show. They had a Hawaiian-themed party that people could go to. Gambling theme. Blackjack, roulette, everyone dressed up casino style. How about a Roaring Twenties theme? So Terry was just saying they got 26 leads at an average trade show. He sells to doctors. They started this gambling theme where they blackjack or have a roll of the dice or whatever, and you got 260 leads your last trade show? So 10 times. 320. Got the marketing director next to him over here. Let's be clear about this. But yeah, that's a heck of an increase, isn't it? So it's a way to stand out in the crowd. So the first objective of a trade show is to find a way to stand out in the crowd. Psychic theme, that's another client over here who tried that. Free fortune telling, bright purple turbans, although you abandoned that one because it was right after 9/11 and you thought, let's not wear turbans, guys. Puffy sleeves, you know, the gypsy style outfits.
Here is a Chet Holmes client who used these techniques with astonishing results. What can you apply from this for your trade show efforts? If you've not used trade shows as a marketing vehicle, take a moment and think about how you could or why you should. Done properly, a trade show can provide a significant boost in business.
Bob, you want to talk about your success with that?
We hired a fortune teller who was from the local area where the trade shows were, and we had a fortune teller all dressed up, full gypsy style, and we had a little brochure that showed how to read your palm yourself. And we had something on the back, I think it was tied into peer into the future of network monitoring. And
yeah, you tie it to your company.
Yeah,
exactly.
so everybody's walking around the trade show with this little, oh, let's see where your line goes. And meanwhile, they're holding it for everybody else to see our logo on the back. It was real popular. And lots of traffic came through. They had to fill out a survey to answer some questions, and that became their pass card to actually get their palm read. And so it worked out really well.
Was the fortune teller good?
Oh, yeah, Eric looked great in a turban. Bright purple.
Star Trek theme, did that with another client. Full deal. Communicators, you know, beam me up, Scotty, the whole thing. Anyway, it just looks really cool, and everybody's in these Star Trek themes because you're going like, what's with the guys in the Star Trek themes? Or and another company did where they gave away a free trip on the Concorde when it first came out, and so they had everybody dressed as flight attendants, which is kind of sharp. You know, that captains are going around and the flight attendants and everything. The higher level executives wore the captain's uniforms, and others wore flight attendant uniforms. And they were just everywhere. And you're like, what's with the flight attendant? Oh, we're giving away a free trip to Paris on the Concorde. Oh, cool. Come by our booth. So just trying to show you that a little bit of ingenuity can make a huge difference. A magic theme is another one. It is called a trade show. It has the word show in it, so let's put on a performance. Engage prospects is the second rule of any trade show, which means now we're getting noticed. What are we going to do to engage the prospects? So get them to interact, get them to want to come to your booth, get the entire show buzzing about you, create a nice buzz, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things you do is to give us some kind of a drawing, and people will fill out the little card, have them, make sure you have clipboards and pens ready, and people will fill that out. And again, how do you get them to tell you about their company? Multiple choice. They will tell you anything if you have categories, what size of company, just put categories and let them check it off. You'll get a tremendous amount of information. Works really, really well. Third rule is to get those leads. So again, like I said, try to gather the leads. Have something to engage. That's where you have the contest. And then the same thing will also get you their leads. See, the client of mine who did the Hawaiian theme went from 28 leads the previous year to 480 leads the second year. And to quote him, even after sorting out all the freebie hounds, we still had over 300 qualified leads. Why? They gave away a free trip to Hawaii and had to fill out a form to enter. The form was full of useful data, all multiple choice. The cost to do this is about $3,000. They bought a couple thousand leis. They were 50 cents a piece. You know, they're really cheap. They're made out of, call it plastic. They don't feel like it. They're pretty good, actually. And so, you know, for $500, you got 1,000 of them. And so everybody's walking around the trade show with the leis on around their neck. And, of course, you can hear the jokes now, did you get laid yet, and all that, it's all over the trade show. But the idea worked really, really well, and to buy a round-trip ticket for 2 people in Hawaii is a couple of $1,000s. So for $3,000, this guy stood out like you wouldn't believe and generated 10 times. So think, how many strategic objectives can you achieve at a trade show? A lot. So I put a list in the workbook to figure it out. You don't have to go there now. Hold on, you will have the time to do it. The art of the party. Throwing a party at a trade show can get the entire place buzzing about you. So how to do that? First, don't conflict with the trade show party. Usually every trade show will have a night where they're throwing the big party. That's not the time to throw your party. I've had people go, oh, it's a great idea, and they throw the party and no one comes because the trade show has a way better party than you can throw. I've been to trade show where they rent out Disneyland. You know what I mean? You ever been to one of those where it's a really big thing and they literally close down Disneyland and your constituencies get to go in there? A month before, you call the concierge at the hotel where you're staying during the show. Say, listen, we want to throw a party there. We want to throw it at the hottest club in town. Can you tell us what that is? And they'll give you a list of 4 or 5 clubs. You call the club and you say, you know, listen, I want to bring 200 people by and pick up the bar tab. What will you do for me? First thing they do is they waive the door charge. So some of these clubs are $20 to get in. They waive the door charge to get 200 people where you're going to buy the bar tab. It costs you less to buy their drinks than it does to buy their door fee. Plus, they get in right away. So that's another thing, too, is that with their invitation, you know, how you go to a hot club in New York or Chicago, there's people waiting online and the doorman play God and let people in. Well, your people go right in because they've got this invitation. Negotiate a one price for all. So usually water and soda are free, $6 a drink no matter what it is because you're going to bring 200 people. So you can go, some people will have 12 drinks, you know what I mean, but most people will have 1 or 2, and you know, your bar tab's going to be $2,000, $3,000, and you can throw a killer party for $3,000 at a trade show. And when I ran magazines and newspapers, we threw the best parties at every trade show. And so we were, quote unquote, the single most popular without a doubt. And everybody else was like, whoa, I don't want to spend that kind of budget. We went 3 or 4 trade shows a year. We'd spend $3,000 just picking up the bar tab. That's all I ever did. We gave them drink coupons. I think it says it here. Promoting a party. First, advance promotion. Create a fun-looking invite. Doesn't have to be expensive. Just should look real festive. So, you know, come to our party. It's going to be a great party. Send it out to everybody in advance. All the Dream 100 prospects. And again, this works for your Dream 100. Again, those of you who would go to trade shows and work that, I know not everybody in the room does that, but, you know, you're already hitting your Dream 100 constantly. Invite them to a party. Call them as well. Invite them. Talk it up. At the trade show, begin the hype. The best party at the trade show. So I always say this, like, you know, we used to throw the best parties at the trade show, but the very first time I did this, we walked down into the trade show floor. I had 5 salespeople. There were 500 exhibitors in the hall. And we walk up to the first booth and we'd go, listen, you want an invitation for the best party at the trade show? I only have a few of these, but you know, I can maybe give you guys one or here. And then, yeah, it sounds good. Well, it's going to be it. The first one I did was in Toronto. And so what's that thing called, the tower? CN Tower, but there's the Needle, or there's a name for it. Anyway, there's a discotheque up there. It's a hot club. We rented it out. And actually didn't rent it out. All I did was pick up the bar tab, and they waived the door charge as usual. And then we were stingy about those invitations. So you turn to your friend, you go, ooh, I got an invitation to the best party at the trade show. And, you know, then they come running up and start to ask for more. Well, if I walked out of that booth and dropped dead, you'd show up, they'd be the only 2 people at the trade show. So by the time we got done hyping the thing and making it look like an exclusive party that was going to be hard to get into, no door charge, no drink, you don't have to pay anything, it's going to be the hottest trade show at the party, And the first time I did this was in the legal market. We did it at that thing, and one of the Kodak had paid for the star of LA Law to be there, and of course he heard about where the best party was going to be. And when he comes to the party, who does he want to hang with? He wants to hang with the host of the party. So I had at my table the star from LA Law and all the hottest people, and I was brand new to the industry. And in one night we became famous just in one trade show. So again, what are your strategic objectives? How prominent do you want to be in that industry? What's it worth to you? A couple $1,000s to become, one up it, David. Throw a party, man. It'll change everything. Give the invites sparingly. They can't get into the hottest club in town without them. Make sure that you tell them that you don't have to wait online, because I show up at one of our parties and there's a whole bunch of my people waiting on the stupid line. I go, you don't have to wait online. Got the invitation. Come on in, So then we sent some of my salespeople go down the line regularly to tell them. So you make sure you tell people they don't have to wait online. It's all the mistakes I've made. I'm trying to save you. One important rule about the trade show, most important rule about the trade show, make sure that they have fun. So it's one of the benefits of throwing a party at a club is it already has, built-in people to dance with. Make sure your party is a ball. That's why I say you don't even want to have your own party. Go to a popular club where it's already happening, it's already hot. Everyone is dancing and having a great time. Models are $100 to $300 a day. Most of them are $100, and you can have them come to the party and just say, I want to see everybody dancing. So you just make sure you get around and get lots of people dancing. Themes are great again. So the other fellow did the Hawaiian theme. We did a Hawaiian party, and people, that place where they did it put up, fake palm trees, and they went along with the whole theme. They went out of their way to have this person bring 200 people by and buy them drinks. Okay, very friendly. It says, make sure everyone is having a ball. Be very friendly. Boldly walk up to people and shake their hand. This is you coaching your staff. Be very friendly. Boldly walk up to people. Hey, how you doing? I'm Chet Holmes. Nice to meet you. Be very aggressive. These are other things we did. We did a hot tub party. It was really cool. There's a hot tub here, and Doug got them to leave it open for you guys. So if you want to do a hot tub party later. Foot races in the hotel hallways. I mean, I've just done all kinds of fun things. We were definitely the most popular. Our salespeople were the most popular. That's how I took that magazine from number 15 to number 1. It was the combination of all this stuff working together. Catamaran cruise for 50 of the Dream 100 in Hawaii at another trade show. We rented a catamaran, took everybody out on that. It cost, a couple of grand. Somebody buys a page of advertising, I'm up on the game. So make sure it's fun, and then the next day what happens is if you throw a great party, everybody's talking about your party. You become the buzz of the trade show. Charity event as a PR vehicle, there are two primary reasons why charity events are an awesome opportunity. Charity events can get a ton of publicity for the charity versus it's harder for you to get publicity, although we've seen it's not that hard. But if you throw a charity event for, Save the Whales or Save the Children, or we did one, it says, it's coming up here, we did one for the Starlight Foundation, which grants wishes for terminally ill children. Well, that's going to get a ton of coverage. In most cases, the event pays for itself. Only the profits from the event go to the charity. So if you put on a charity for your marketing, you can do it at your annual trade show. Say, look, we're having a charity. It's a very lush dinner. Again, don't conflict with the trade show's party. Throw your own. You charge them to come. It's $50, but you get this, you get that, you get this. Then you get the restaurant to contribute some stuff. You get people to give away gifts. You can get other trade show attendees to throw in things for raffles and prizes. And people give you all the stuff because it's for a charity. Then you take the money they paid to be in that event. You pay for the hard costs. The rest goes to the charity. Didn't cost you a dime. And you did a killer good deed. And you got your Dream 100 all in one room. Works really well. Yeah, you like bond like crazy, so charity events, a film premiere. We did that with, we had those live research laboratories. We had 680 chiropractors on the telephone for a year and a half teaching them how to build their business. And we went to Sony Pictures, and I said, I've got 600 doctors in 600 communities who are willing to promote your movie for nothing. Interested? So I got the president of distribution on the telephone. I still have that conference call where he gets on and pitches the heck out of that movie, Dance With Me, with Miss America, what's her name? Vanessa Williams, thank you. 3 people saw Dance With Me. And all the people that were promoting it for our event. But in fact, the tracking showed that we ended up doing 200. Of the 680 doctors, 200 of them said, I'll do it, or 215, can't remember the exact numbers. But it was over 200 doctors said, I want to do it. I want to throw a movie premiere in my town. One fellow went to the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders in Dallas and said, listen, I'm doing a charity event for the Starlight Foundation. We're doing a Hollywood movie premiere right here in Dallas. And they said, great, we'll send the girls by. So the theme of it was Dance With Me. The guy got the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders to dance in the parking lot for free. Now, do you think you can get your Dream 100 clients to that event? And they paid for it. They paid, in fact, $20 a ticket for an $8 ticket. The movie was free. The theater was free. Didn't cost them anything. It actually raised, they got 1,000 people in the theater, 20 bucks a head. And then they had a free auction. They did all this stuff and got it all donated. Another fellow got a presidential candidate to one of his. So these were chiropractors who decided that in their community, they wanted to get famous. You want to get famous in your community, put on a big charity event for the community. People will pay to go to the event. Get your Dream 100 involved. Get all the most popular people involved. And it starts to snowball. And we're all looking for something to do, right? I mean, my kid's school has a silent auction. We go every year. It's a ball. There's dancing and drinking, and you go and you buy stuff, and it's great. Classic cocktail party and dance. The most obvious, easiest thing to do, book the place, hire the DJ, get the companies to donate stuff, invite highly influential people, $50 per head. You can throw a heck of a party for that. A dinner dance, same as above, hayride, square dance. These are all charity events you can do. This was a killer thing. We did an award ceremony. Whoa, it was so great. It was called the Lammys because it's for the legal markets, the Legal Advertising and Marketing Awards. Called it the Lammys, the Grammys, Black Tie Affair. We had a ton of categories because we wanted to say you guys were all my clients. We want to make sure we're nominating every one of you in every kind of category we could think of. The judges are all from the Dream 100, so some of you we plucked out of the crowd and made you judges. And the winners are all Dream 100. The entire audience was full of my dream prospects that we wanted to sell advertising to. Proceeds went to charity, so we charged them for it. Didn't cost me a dime. Dinner, dance, and awards, and then more dancing. Killer event. I mean, half those people ended up at the hot tub party later on that night. It was great. So is there an award ceremony idea that you could pull off at an annual trade show? Because that's a great place to do it. They stay an extra day and go to the award ceremony. Or if your business is local, let's invite all the most influential people to your area and nominate some of them for an award, and they will come, I guarantee you. Trade association of your very own. These are just public relations ideas, just trying to stimulate you that, all these things give you superior access. Remember I talked about that? Superior access vehicles. Can you start a trade association for the good of your industry or your local community? Can you involve your competitors? I had all my competitors helping to promote my trade show because, boy, they liked going to that thing where all the advertisers were sitting in there, but we were in the catbird seat. We took all the business there. But you will certainly involve your Dream 100. They can be on committees, be chairman of subcommittees, be on the board of advisors. I mean, just get them involved. It works really well. All trade association with some lofty objective. Do you have some problem in your industry that you can rally around? So it's really great if you can pick a problem. So we got 680 chiropractors on that live research laboratory call who paid $300 each for a year and a half. So do the math. It was like $200,000 a call. For 90 minutes on the phone with me, Jay Levinson, and Jay Abraham. And so it's a really lucrative venture, but they have a problem. They are not accepted by the medical profession. Chiropractors are considered, they still call them quacks. All that quack, And so we just rallied around that. I read off, on the first call, I read off the American Medical Association's position on chiropractic. It's really not good, okay? And they were just like, "Grrr." So we, find a cause that they want to rally around, and you can get people involved in your trade association pretty quick. Advisory board is a J. Abraham concept. There are people who already know your Dream 100, who are really well established, might have been the executive director of the trade association for your industry, who's, retired now. What's this guy going to cost you a year to have him on your advisory board where he's getting you access to your Dream 100? So there's a lot of So that doesn't cost you much. So again, Jay teaches this idea. It's a great concept. Does your industry have former power players who know all your potential Dream 100? Some of these people sitting around doing nothing. You call them up and say, I'm thinking of forming an advisory board. Oh, really? Yeah, and we'd fly you in 3 times a year, and you'd advise our company on things like this, and suddenly you're reaching into the, personal Rolodex is the most powerful people in your industry. Really powerful concept. An industry seminar for the benefit of your clients. Can you throw an industry seminar? David and I just talked last night. Said, why don't we put on an event like this for plastic surgeons? He's like, great idea, great idea. Boom, we'll team up together. We'll do one for his specific industry. I'll come and do a speaking engagement. I once put on an industry seminar for all my clients, charged them to attend, and they gladly paid, had 54 speakers, most of them were attendees and Dream 100 people, in 27 seminars with breakout sessions and 2 heavy-duty keynotes. That's where I met Jay Levinson. We hired him to do one of those. The event itself didn't make a lot of money, but we sold millions of dollars in advertising and ruled our market there. In fact, this one event, we had the award ceremony, the trade association meeting, the charity event, and it was called the National Association for Legal Vendors, which I created. We had NAV money, and we took the photos of the heaviest hitters, and we put their face in so instead of them having to have cash, they would buy their lunches and things with NAV money, and we created these dollar signs, and I put the pictures of the most powerful players on the $10 bill and the $20 bill, so that got to be a joke. Some of them bought these $20 pieces of paper and took them home to show their wife and kids and paid us $20 to have them. I mean, it was great. Mass teleconference for your clients. Join 500 of your fellow industry participants and 2 celebrity business growth experts on a mass teleconference to grow your revenues. If you can get 500 people together, you can get my attention to do a mass teleconference for you, or me and Jay Levinson. Okay, we'll do a mass teleconference for your industry. National associations that has clients that you want to penetrate, use our celebrity status to gain access and give you credibility. Again, these are things you can talk to my staff about. Earn income from the effort. Sometimes you can put something on that people will even pay to attend. Give yourself celebrity status in the process, because if you put an event on like that and you've gotten us involved, we'll let you be the moderator. You'll be the host of the call. You'll get to introduce us. I've done that for a lot of clients. It really lifts the status of the client. Fantastic promotional opportunity. I don't know if that's right for you, but for some people here it is. Let's review and discuss PR. Which PR concepts are right for you? Regular PR program. Is that right for you guys? Raise your hands if this is right for you. Okay. How about articles by you? Okay. How about articles about you? All right. How about the PR Newswire? Who's that right for? Okay. Not everybody. How about trade show theme? Right? Half the room. Trade show party. Got a couple of you guys. A hot tub party, like that one. Award ceremony. Can anybody pull that off? 2 people. Okay, trade association. Can you think of something you can rally people around? A couple of guys. Industry seminar. Chet Mass teleconference. You could talk to us about that. I'm doing one with Paul. We're doing it for interior designers right now, because he has a product he wants interior designers to sell. Advisory board, that's right for almost any of you, if you can put together that advisory board concept.
Direct mail is one of the 7 musts of marketing. This was covered quite thoroughly in the Dream 100 and Best Buyer module number 6. So let's go back to the live event for the next marketing weapon.
Most TOMA. Small test, which marketing weapon of the 7 that I gave you is the most potent? I already told you. It's what? Okay. Which one do you think creates more TOMA than all the others combined? Of the 7 musts of marketing, which creates more top-of-mind awareness than all the others combined? Advertising. It's the broadest possible reach. So, business publications, trade journals, radio, TV, newspapers, internet, etc. These are just all different brands and types of advertising. Study of most effective advertising. So this is a study that I did over a 4-year period. It was a very expensive process that I was the one that commissioned the study and monitored the study. And we got a readout every single month of every single advertiser in these magazines that I ran. And it would show, XYZ company, 22 responses. ABC company, 18 responses. It'd be 22 responses, 18 responses, 25 responses, 28 responses. Then you come across one was like 250 responses. So you go, whoa, what's this? 10 times more response than anybody else. And in a lot of cases, we thought that that must be something that just, something amazing, some new product or service. You go to it and you find out that there were 4 other advertisers in the same magazine with the same product. And yet this one was pulling 200 responses and this one's pulling 20. I say Chet ad because I became an expert at what made those ads stand out. So I'm going to teach you right now the 4 most important things about advertising. We'll see how this works with your stuff, Dave. Number 1 is it distinctive? So the most important thing about your ad is, can you attract attention? I was paging through an airline magazine, and they had a guy smiling into the camera like this, and it had a velociraptor, from Jurassic Park, one of those things, about to jump up. He was smiling, inanely, and this velociraptor is about to just jump on him from behind, and it just stopped you right in your tracks. So that's what you want. This is an ad for a company that sells corporate design, and they said in the corporate jungle, identity is everything. And actually, in their ad, one of the zebras was all different colored stripes. Before a prospect client will even think about reading your ad, it has to be distinctive. So that's what you want to do. It's got to be distinctive. Does it pop out? The best response-generating ads have a headline that follows this important rule. Tell me what you want to tell me. You got 3.2 seconds. So great ads generally are not necessarily clever. You have a lot of people try to be clever. So I'm going to show you 4 clever ads. These ran in Forbes or Fortune magazine. So these advertisers spent $75,000 for these ads. Okay? I'm going to give you 3.2 seconds. I'll read you the headline. You guys tell me what the ad's about. Over the years, we've made quite a mark in our industry. 75 grand. The view from our mountain is just fine. Any ideas what this is about? We're serving the world in a new way and proud of it. Because that's about how much time you spend. You're flipping through the magazine. If you don't tell me what the ad's about, I'm done. I'm out of here. So here's one that does tell you. It says, if you're looking for the most cost-effective jet, look a little higher. This is for Learjets. So what's this ad about? And is there a benefit? There you go. So number 2 rule is it gives a benefit. So the headline tells it, tell me what you want to tell me in 3.2 seconds. Give me a benefit. And optional, but always good if you can do it, use the word you or your. So if you're looking for the most cost-effective jet, look a little higher. So that's clever, not super clever, but it's clever, and it tells us a benefit, and it tells me what you want to tell me. It just follows all the rules. Okay. Makes you want to read on. Well, if you're not interested in jets, that's unlikely. But body copy should be curiosity-driven. Each sentence should unfold the story you want to tell and make the prospect want to read on. It should be benefit-oriented. Don't tell me what it is. Tell me why it's valuable. Why do I want to have this? Why do I want to do it? Why? All why. Other advertising rules, trade versus consumer, vertical versus horizontal. One of the ways I also got a lot of advertisers into this legal publication was because they were big advertisers like Xerox and IBM, and they weren't in the legal market. They were advertising in Forbes and Fortune and this and that. And I went to them and said, hey, industry data. I said, hey, did you guys know that lawyers are the largest daily producers of data? Unfortunately. Put out more words every day than all the magazines and newspapers put together. So when we taught that to Xerox and IBM, they committed huge resources to going after the legal market with 1 million lawyers who do more copies than anybody else, and Xerox wasn't even in the trade journals. It was an easy sale, and a huge sale. Massive. Targeting advertisers' best buyers. Advertising is the best form of long-range bombing. It's the best way to build that name recognition. Again, not if you don't have the budget, but if you have the budget, it's a great way. Advertising stays in front of the prospects when you can't be. 50% of all purchasing is motivated by advertising. For retail, this means once you have them in your store, restaurant, office, or premises, or showroom, you have to have tremendous opportunity to sell them. 50% of all purchases are made on impulse. So again, for retails, and not a lot of retailers in the room, but it'll be interesting for the rest of you anyway, costs you 6 times more to capture the buyer. We've already said that. So once they're in the store, that's your greatest opportunity for upsell, for cross-sell. In order to accomplish this, so there's several things. So let me show you the power of color. There's a couple people in here, I can't remember who now, that I said this section would be valuable for, and I give you permission to utilize it in your core story. Oh, the graphic designers. You know, you should have in your core story a section where you show how sophisticated you are. You even understand the power of color. 80% of your brain is used to process as image and colors, and this is in English, from England, because this is part of a core story from a company that sells signs to retailers. I'll explain what they did. It was brilliant. Color actually accounts for 60% of an initial impression to accept or reject a product. Again, graphics designers, core story, babe. Put it right in there. Okay. Knowing which colors to use for your displays and signage is crucial. And by the way, you can see the last thing that appears, which it shouldn't be the way this is set up, but it's the source. There's really good sources on all this data. Terrific information. Colors have a powerful influence. The most popular color is blue. It's considered the color of trust and reliability. On a hot summer day, blue has been shown to give a cooling impression when used with soft drinks or bottled water displays. Customer is drawn to it as it makes the product appear far more thirst-quenching. This is all really good clinical studies. Which color attracts the eye the most?
Red.
Oh my God, you guys are totally Chet trained. The color red has been shown to attract and to actually elevate the heart rate and blood pressure. It's the color of excitement, speed, danger, and passion. Red is also the color that most draws the human eye. Is particularly effective when used in conjunction with orange or black, as well as royal blue. Impulse shoppers respond to these colors more than any others. However, it's not necessarily just because it attracts more attention. It's not necessarily the best color to use, right? Because it's speed and danger and things of that nature. What color says affordability? Orange says affordability. Not cheap, not expensive, just a good, serviceable pricing. Give you some examples. How about Home Depot? They use orange. What about Hojo's, Howard Johnson's? They use orange. Okay? What color says warmth and happiness? Yellow says sunshine, warmth, and happiness. What do you sell that you might want to accent with this color? Which says abundance, nature, and fresh. Green is the color you want when you want to represent abundance, nature, and fresh. Got some people that sell vitamins in the room. Want to sell those on a budget? Teal, pink, light blues, and navy appeal to shoppers who plan to stick to a budget when shopping. So you see this is in teal. Can't believe we found that graphic. It's amazing. What really attracts the eye? Now, I'm not being, honestly speaking, okay, the eye is more attracted to the physical form than anything else, period. What's the first thing you get the most familiar with when you're a little baby? Okay, so it's not just the, well, I don't know where his mind just went. Not just the body, but the face, the fingers. We're more attracted to the physical form than any other form. Your eye is just drawn more to that form than any other form. First glance to your mom to the first stirrings of adulthood, we learn to love the human physical form over all other shapes and designs. The eyes really do have it. Again, we're drawn first to the physical form. It fascinates us. Ever notice, by the way, that you come home from the Grand Canyon, you got all these pictures, you flip through the ones of the mountains, and you stop and look at the ones with your family in them. You know, the eye is more drawn to the physical form than anything else. Where does your eye go here? Okay, make no mistake, visuals are crucial to marketing. Visuals really do work great in your marketing. Where does your eye go? It always goes to the graphic. So I showed you the same thing without the graphic. It's a lot less powerful. They work. Anyone hungry? So let's write some headlines for some of these graphics. Just a quick exercise. Write a headline for this, and here's the rules. Tell me what you want to tell me. Give me a benefit. Use the word you or your. Make me want to read further. Good. Write a headline right now for that. This is a moose kissing a cat that somebody actually snapped at their backyard. Guess in what country? Canada. Canadians knew it right away. Can you write a headline around that for your product or service? Signs in your windows or your premises. In one study, 76% of respondents stated that they believed signs that are very informative. 94% recall signs. They take them through a store. They recall. 94% recall what signs were in there. 84% of the people who saw the signs also remembered the product. Illuminated attracts the eye. Static advertising was shown to increase sales by 54% in the store. So putting just a little sign over a product, just boom, your sales on that item increased 54%. However, when backlit or scrolling or motion, it increased to 107%. What retailers have learned, in a retail survey, retailers were asked which type of advertising was most effective in increasing sales. 73% preferred advertising with motion, but displays, now not talking about signs, now we're talking about displays. You get displays without the motion. Just putting a display, like making something on display in your retail store, increased the sales by 170%. But if they put motion into it, 317%. So it's really powerful stuff. And again, the graphs are cool. It really shows things off. And you see the way I'm presenting this, it's how you present your core stories. If you've got it in a graphic, don't read the bullets, just move on. As economy tightens and the competition heightens, with the effectiveness of TV, newspaper, radio, magazine advertising dwindling, you may want to consider much less expensive of reaching your customers. Now, this is positioning from a person who sells signage. So I don't even show you the part where we show the decline of advertising in every single kind of medium, because that's what he needs to do in order to position signage. Window advertising is a great way to generate. It's a great place to advertise, large amount of passing traffic, opportunity to recruit new customers. So this is a great opportunity if you're in retail. And they have to see it 9 times before they are affected. 3 in 10 purchases are planned, so that having good signage and displays in the store makes a huge difference. Things to look for: change it regularly, make it easy to change. Guess why that's a setup, folks? Add lighting. This company is very popular. They created this whole thing where you can have these wires, and then you just clip these lights on, and there's such a low volt of electricity running through these wires, you can put your hand around it and it won't give you electrical shock, but you can clip these lights anywhere on it and move things around on these wires. Have you seen these kinds of displays? Well, the company that pioneered that is my client, and this is their core story. You're looking at it right now. So use movement. Can you make it interactive? Core story complements of Fairfield Lighting and Display. Just give them a little plug since I ripped off their core story here. FairfieldDisplays.com. And let's look at their strategic objectives. They wanted to get budget from higher level executives. So they would go in and somebody said, oh, we have no budget for signs this year. So when they started ignoring that and going to the senior executive vice president of advertising and showing them that you can increase your sales 317% when you have them in the store by having better signs, do you think that got his attention? Killer core story work. I don't want to give out their sales figures, but let's just say that one of the Dream 100 clients they got is equal to 2/3 of their entire annual sales from thousands of buyers the years before. Okay, they got to one person who put displays and signage in like hundreds and hundreds of stores at the cost of, a lot of money. I don't want to give away their details. To get the budget for the high-level executives, to have an excuse to meet with these higher-level executives, they needed something that would meet. Because if they said, yeah, we sell window displays, I don't deal with that. I'm Senior Executive Vice President of McDonald's. I do not deal with window displays. But if they call up and say, listen, we've done some research and we found a way that we can teach you how to increase your sales 317% on the spot. And so we're doing this with all of your competitors. Thought you might want to see this data. You guys starting to see the power of a core story if it's well thought through. Motivate more purchasing. You can see how that material motivate purchasing. By the way, all of it's 100% true. We didn't make any of it up. It's all real hardcore data. Cable television advertising for consumers. Cable has become so inexpensive, almost anyone can do it. Make sure it's as visual as possible. Why? Because 70% of people are muting those commercials now. So if you're going to do cable, you need to show a lot if you can't tell it. A local oil change company here in Marin County became literally famous from being on those low-budget cable commercials. It was like his whole family became famous. Then he started using his wife and kids in the ads and everything. He just totally love it. Mr. Tim's home VCR cleaning service. You buy 100 spots just in his neighborhood. That's the beauty of cable today. You can buy by zip code. You can buy by neighborhood. and literally became a celebrity. He was walking in stores. People were like, aren't you Mr. Tim from the... Yes, I am, as a matter of fact. The guy's a little tiny business. Became famous, you know. Can you choose by zip code and neighborhood? Can you have one made fairly cheaply, because the companies that do this usually come and shoot your spot for $200, create a TV ad for you, and then with Dave's expertise, we'll show you how to do it better. Who here can use this marketing weapon? Who can do local cable television to build their business? Good. Using video as a marketing tool, Bob Chesney does a thing, I forget the names of it, but Bob has a show called Window on Wall Street. He's got a killer studio. A lot of people in this room have used Bob's services, so definitely want to see him at the break if you want. And he can put these in. Now with DVDs, you can just do some cool stuff. I think I actually say that. And now with DVDs, you can do some cool stuff. You can get very, very clever. Who here could use this weapon? Okay. Okay, so let me tie it all together for you. So first, everything comes out of that core story. Now you know why I call it a core story. Just everything comes out of that. What's your core story? And within that core story, we want to set buying criteria. You want to develop that business philosophy, and I'll tell you what it should be. You don't have customers, you have clients. That means they're under your care, guidance, and protection. You want to develop your strategic position. That's going to come out of that core story. That's going to help set the buying criteria. They all work together, and then you want to crystallize it. This is all your super strategies, all your top-level stuff. Now we're ready for the sub-strategies, right? Now we're ready to go get clients, but we have sub-strategies. So we want to target best buyers. That's a sub-strategy. Testing, right? I talked about that. Stack marketing. That's how can we get all this stuff working together. Standards and rules. Set those constant steps for improvement. Database marketing, of course, having great information. And then now we're ready for the tactics. And I just teach 7. Jay's going to teach you 100. But those tactics are all there. And how many different ways can you get them working together? If you get an article, can you use it in your advertising? Can you send it as a direct mail piece? Remember I talked about salespeople having tools? Well, that's another great tool. Is an article about you or by you are great tools. Can you use it all on the internet? How many different ways can you make this all work together? This just tells the California lawyer story. Market was researched, its advantages were found, buying criteria was set. We provided an educational orientation was created and offered free to anyone who listened. It was called Succeeding in the Legal Market. I got in front of the executive committee of Xerox, the whole chief marketing staff for IBM, Data General, Texas Instruments, brought massive advertisers into the industry. And this is in 1984 when the PC was just beginning to get popular. Most law firms were still using typewriters. I mean, you know, it was like a revolution. And so suddenly, if you were a law firm, you went from not hearing from anybody to hearing from hundreds of salespeople for all these technology companies. And within 2 years, the entire industry automated. It was amazing. I caused that. It was like, wow. Just by being the guy who went after all these huge advertisers and pointing out to them that this was the #1 industry for data. Salespeople were trained on the material every single week. Forget about it. I was like a madman, you can imagine. And all of this, the Dream 100 cell was put into action. A dozen superior access vehicles were created, from the annual symposiums to award ceremonies, etc. Procedures and policies and proactive planning. The results, publication went from number 15 to #1 in 15 months. Unheard of. Sales doubled 3 years in a row. You had to see this billionaire looking at me. I was 29 or something at the time, going, are you sure we're not lying or cheating or stealing? Because I've never seen anybody double business in a row. That is a quote from Charlie Munger when we doubled business 3 years in a row. From 2% to 28% of national market share. The national publications only had 14%. Unheard of. So final observation, it's not that hard to outmarket and outsell your competitors. Most companies are just terrible at selling and marketing. It's just not that hard, guys. Most marketing concepts covered here are not expensive. You know, a lot of them are free. Using data is free. Becoming the most educational person in your industry is a free position. TOMA is a great thing and always have people buying now, so you really want to have that TOMA if you can.
Okay, a few final things about the workbook. This module obviously works hand in hand with Module 6. They're both all about getting clients. That's what both Module 6 and Module 7, focusing on getting clients. That's what we need you to focus on. In your workbook, Section 7 covers material that is covered in both Module 6 and in Module 7. Please do yourself the justice of doing the exercises in Section 7 of your workbook. How much do you have to work on this in order to get this all working together? how about just 1 hour a week, at least, should be devoted to your marketing efforts and seeing how many ways you can tie everything together. I hope you're beginning to see that few companies can stand against anyone who does everything laid out in this training program. And if you're watching this in order, we haven't even gotten into selling yet. There are a lot of modules on that one area alone because it's critical to you building the ultimate sales machine. Go to your workbooks now.
This was a Chet Holmes International production.